Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Today, the demonstration, the practical is regarding the one application or the method that is called as the chromatography. So, this is a chromatography is a one technique which is basically used to separate the mixtures of different things like amino acids, it may be peptides, or some drugs in the pharmaceutical companies, other things, and that will be helpful for the diagnosing various disorders related to the amino acids. In this chromatography, there will be separate methods or the technologies are there called by just the paper chromatography or gel chromatography, gas chromatography, and nowadays very advanced technique has come that is high performance liquid chromatography like that one. So we are just introducing in this one the one paper chromatography to you, and you will come to know how this will be used. So it has to come with the word like chroma means color and graphene means to write. So basically the idea was that with the differentiating the things and identifying after the separation, they will be given some color coating to that one, so that has come with the name as the chromatography, that is color one. It is a process for separating and components of the mixture, and it gets the name from a technique first used in the 19th century, and it was initially used by the artists hoping to perfect industrial dyes for the textiles. With that time, it has come unique branch of the chemistry, and nowadays it is widely used in the chemistry, biochemistry, and also in the pharmaceutical companies also. So it is the one which is used to separate the components to analyze, identify, purify, and quantify the mixture of the components. And it is the one which will be used basically with the two things in that one. One will be as a mode called as stationary mode, and another one as the mobile one. We'll come to the next slides. So it is an important biophysical technique that enables separation, identification, purification of the components or color related compounds, and it is a powerful separation that is used in all branches of the science to separate the mixtures of the components. So in biochemistry, it is more applicable with the proteins, amino acids, carbohydrates, vitamins, and drugs. What happens? The basic methodology is that though two substances are dissolved in the same solvent, but their solubilities can be, the proportionality of their solubility can be different. The component which is more soluble, it rises faster and gets separated from the mixture. Because of these differences, some components stay stronger in the stationary phase and they move slowly in the chromatography system. So while others just they pass in the mobile phase and leave the system faster. It depends upon how much it has dissolved in that one. It more the dissolvability is there, more is will be the coming out of that mixture. So, as I said earlier, there will be two phases will be there. That is, one is stationary phase. That is, you can call other word with the other word called as the immobile phase. And second one is mobile phase, that is always composed with a liquid or gaseous component in other chromatography technique, that is gas chromatography. And third one is that what is the separated one? This type of interaction between the stationary and mobile phase, the substances contained in the mixture is the basic component affecting the separation of the molecules from each other. So when a mixture is being kept, it will be made to get separated. It will be applied on one solid phase. When the solid phase is there, that will be acting as the stationary phase, and the component which will be moving over that one, getting separated from that one, that will be referred as the mobile phase. So, though it is not related to the paper chromatography, just how the separation takes place, I'm just showing here. That is, there will be in an advanced technique, the column will be there, which we will call that as the column chromatography. So it will be mixed with the fix with the mixture that to be separated, and then once the separation starts, so there will be separation of the whatever the solutes are there into the two parts, and that will be identified with the separate bonds, or what you can call the bands, that will be identified with the different colors. It will be separated and collected in a two separate containers, or you can call them as the flask. So coming to the types of the chromatographies that are existing, they are of the two things, particularly planar chromatography and column chromatography. In the planar chromatography, stationary phase is spread on a flat planar surface. The plane can be paper acting as a stationary phase, or stationary phase spread on the glass, metal or plastic piece. The planar chromatography, which is also called as the open bed chromatography, and in column chromatography, the stationary phase is within the tube only. And based on the physical nature of this one, the things they are further classified into the gas chromatography, liquid chromatography. Just for your knowledge, we are just putting it. And further, this basis of the stationary phase, physical nature, there are two types of that one. Following types are there: gas solid chromatography, gas liquid chromatography, liquid liquid chromatography, liquid liquid chromatography. Such like the different methodologies will be there. Overall, the basic principle behind the application of this technique is that the separation of different the components which are dissolved in the mixture, that will be separated, and they will be identified, and they will be taken into the account in a purified manner. So the for the separation, some mechanism will be there, that which we can tell this way, that is partition chromatography. You can partition, adsorption, size exclusion, affinity, and ion exchange chromatography. These are the further developed technologies that will be applied, but basically it was started with the paper chromatography. So it is the one technique in which the filter paper is used. So it not as ordinary filter paper what we use in the laboratory. It will be like a separate paper will be there, filter paper, which is called as the Whatman filter paper. So it is the one which is considered as a cellulose paper, and it is the one which is a very ideal filter paper to be used. In that also there will be separate categories will be there, like Whatman filter paper 1, and grades are there 1, 2, 44, 39, 40, like that one. So it was first introduced by the German scientist Christian Friedrich Schonbein. It is considered as the simplest and most widely used chromatography technique because of its applicability to isolation, identification, and quantitative determination of organic and inorganic compounds. So you just can look into the here. This is a paper, Watson paper. It will be dipped to the some extent here into a one reagent or the solvent. It will be dipped there. The over the time of period, this liquid will start absorbing of this one filter paper and it starts moving up there. So at that time, what we will do, we will put the mixture of what the test or the sample to be done here, just as one spot here. This is one sample, this is the second sample, third and fourth, like that. So if that is consisting of any amino acid of any grade, so that will move along with this solvent and it will be fixated, get stopped there according to its ability to be there. So the different separated, isolated parts will be these amino acids. So for your topic is of amino acid only, so we will refer to them as the amino acid only. So they will get start moving from this part to this one and get the fixate, and they can be converted into a visible spots by dipping this one with the ninhydrin solution. Ninhydrin is the one which acts with almost all the types of the proteins and they react and give the color products. So this one of the drying one, it shows the which type of the particle is present. For that one, for what we have to do, is that at the first position, we will mix about known concentrated amino acids and we put there. And in the second and third samples, there will be unknown samples. So, depending upon the level at which it moves, we can compare it and identify which solvent has moved up or which amino acid is separated one. So the principle is that mainly the partition rather than the absorption, the cellulose layers in the filter paper contains moisture which acts as a stationary one, and organic solvents and buffers that were it has been used are dipped there into the beaker or container. It is used as the mobile phase. So what we have to do, you cut the paper into a desired shape and size depending upon the work to be carried out. The starting line should be marked on the pencil on the paper at the bottom of the edge. Please note it, and on the starting line marks, you have to make about 2 centimeter of upper side, and also there should be the gap between one sample and another sample about 2 centimeter distance should be there. So like this one, you can take one filter paper like this one and just mark a line where you have to apply the sample and also the spot where you have to put the sample like this one. You spot it or figure it with a pencil, mark it with the lead pencil. Now the sample to be applied is applied with a small spot on the virgin using the capillary tube or you must have seen micropipette will be there in the laboratory. With that one, hardly about 5 or 6 microliter sample should be added there. And then this spot is dried on the filter paper and is placed on the developing chamber. It will show you next one. As the solvent rises, it meets the sample mixture which starts to travel up the paper with the solvent. Here you can see. So this is the samples how we this is the chamber what it is there. In this one, this filter paper is kept here and the separate samples are applied, and then the filter paper, what's one filter paper will be dipped into the solvent which will be acting as a mobile phase, and the filter paper will be acting as the solid phase. And then as the filter paper start absorbing the liquid, the level of the liquid will start moving upside, and along with that one, whatever the sample you have put here at that spots, they will start getting separated one here this way. So on this one, we based on this one we can make out which amino acid is separated, or how well these are there. Using one factor is there, RF factor. By that only you can calculate and find out which amino acid is separated one. So it is actually the chamber wherein the process of chromatography is done. Very ideal one it is used. Otherwise also you can just make one big paper filter, beaker. In that beaker you should make the paper, Wattman's filter paper, to be hanged from upside down, and then prior to that you have to mark it and put some the reagent that will be used, or you can call that as the buffer one, and make the filter paper marked with this in one line, and on that one you have to put about 5 to 6 microliter of the sample to be processed and put it there for 3 to 4 hours and see how the changes will be there. So for that purpose, the glass tanks are preferred most. They are available in the dimension size depending upon the paper length and development type. So the paper is dipped in the solvent in such a manner that its spots will not dip completely into the solvent. The solvent will rise up to, and it will be allowed to run 2/3 of the paper height for better and efficient result. So here the type that has been shown to you, it can be done with the two methods. That is, one is ascending development, what you have seen that one as the one which will be going up. So like the conventional type, the solvent slowly flows against the gravity, and spots are kept at the bottom of the portion of the paper and kept in the chamber with the mobile phase solvent at the bottom. This one like this. And another one is of the descending type, that is downward slope. This is carried out in a special chamber where the solvent holder is at the top. The spot is kept at the top and solvent flows down the paper. This means the solvent that has to be moved, that will be moving from upside to down. So that will be called as the descending type. And in this method, solvent moves from the top of the bottom, so it is called as the descending chromatography. Only thing is that because it is not against the gravity, the advantage is that the development will be faster. As the solvent flows, it takes along with that unknown substances. The rate of migration of the molecules depends on the relative solubilities in the stationary phase. After a sufficient migration of the solvent, paper is removed, dried, and developed for the identification of the specific spots. So these can be identified by running known standards with the unknown mixture. So always it will be like this, the procedure. Extremely at the left side, the spots what will be you are putting, it will be having of the known the amino acids mixture of that one will be there, or any one or two amino acids will be there. Suppose if you are been given the information that this patient is suffering from glycinuria or related to the symptoms, he may say that the clinician that he is suspecting this patient is suffering from glycinuria, then you can check that way. Means with the standard, you can put the glycine one as the one of the amino acid in that one and see that at what level it moves. So the unknown sample also is run at the side of that one. So if the glycine is there, the movement of that glycine amino acid will be at that level only, so that you can make out that glycine is excreting in the urine of that patient who is suffering from the glycinuria. So separation of amino acid by the chromatography requirements will be there like this. First one is the Watson filter paper, and the mixture we were taking is of glycine, leucine. For example, just we are putting you the example that we want to find out the glycine and leucine are in that amino acid mixture, which will be used as the unknown sample, and a solvent mixture will be there which will be put into the beaker or that container, which will be acting as the solvent to be run there as a mobile phase, and it will be in the proportion of 12 is to 3 is to 5. What the things you are taking is N-butanol, acetic acid and distilled water. It will be mixed in the proportion of 12 is to 3 is to 5. So that mixture will be added first into that solvent mixture will be added into the beaker, and then just on the filter paper what I have told you, you are marking 2 centimeter above the level, a line will be marked, and you are running the spots putting there in the 3-1, and finally you are in need of 9-hydrogen solution to fix the amino acid that will be moved there. So you can take 3 strips separately, or a single strip also can be done. Make the line with the lead pencil and take 2 ml of the solvent in each 3 test tubes, or place them in the beaker only, whatever the way you want, and you have to apply about 3 to 5. 3 will be not possible, about 5 to 6 amino and microliter amino acid mixture at the spot of the center of the mark line, and similarly apply that with the another one which will be considered as the standard one, pure glycine and leucine, that will be 2 parts, and one will be the mixture that is of the glycine and leucine, which will be acting as a unknown one. So hold the 2 strips tightly at the upper side, and then at the lower end of the strips, which will be sample will be applied, that should be dipped into the solvent, and the paper should hang over particularly in a vertical one, and it should not, the thing is that care must be taken that it should not reach to the side, touch to the side of the beaker or the container, because the movement of the liquid can be sometimes separated, or it may move the line of moving upside. To begin with, level of the solvent should touch the edge of the paper strip, but it should not remain below the amino acid mixture spot. So the care must be taken that the water, the reagent level should not go above the line that you have marked on which your spot will be putting, and it should be dipped into there so that the movement of the liquid will be taking place along with the mixture that you have put their spot. So they go concurrently and move upside. So once that is kept for 45 minutes to 1 hour, to remove it out and just dry it in the oven, hot air oven at 100 to 110 degrees centigrade for 15 minutes, and then later on, whatever the separation of amino acids have been taken place, it will not be visible to you, or it will not be in a visible condition. Hence, what we have to do, we have to treat that with the 900 solution. Means some laboratories use spraying of this 900 solution over that one filter paper and dry them. So what happens? The reaction takes place. The amino acid means the proteins. The protein, they act with the 900 solution because of presence of any amino acid, and they give the purple spot will be given. So you people were not there to attend any laboratory practicals regarding the reactions with the protein one, color reactions we call them. So 900 reagent is the one which is used for the identification of the proteins. You must have noticed if you have attended. The 900 is the one which is a common test for identification of any proteins. So then once the color purple spot is formed, that indicates of the position of the amino acids, and now we have to compare the position of separated amino acid spots in the strip C with the position of the glycine spot and leucine spot in the A and B, or the pure one separately, so that up to what level that has moved the glycine and the leucine, you can make out that one with the unknown sample. And actually that is the visual appearance you can do, but however, by applying one formula, that is RF. RF is the retardation factor we call. It is taken out, the ratio is taken out by the taking into the two things into the account, that is the distance traveled by the substance and distance traveled by the solvent. Front in the means the front side, whatever it is moving upside, that is. So these results are represented by the RF value, which will be between 0 to 1, and this indicates the position of the migrated spot on the chromatogram. So here you can see that this is the distance traveled by the pigment, and this is the distance traveled by the solvent, that is the one which you have put into the beaker. So you have to take the ratio of these one, the distance traveled by the pigment and distance traveled by the solvent. That is, this one you have to pigment solution substance means that is the pigment, that is the one, this one by the solvent. So when you take the value, then it shows that which amino acid is separated. There is a known RF factor is there already done, or done the practicals of that one, it is known one. So by calculating it, you can come to know which type of the or which amino acid is separated. However, there will be some factors that may affect the RF value. The solvent system and its component. First one is the temperature. it should be a room temperature. Secondly, the quality of the paper. I had told that we should use the Whatman filter paper only, not any ordinary filter paper. And the quality and nature of the solvent that you are using. And third, another factor which may be affecting is that the distance traveled by the solute and the solvent, chemical reactions between the substances being partition, that is also one which may give you the false or wrong value, and pH of the solution. Sources of error. Error during the application of the spots. This is the one which most of the persons commit there. They don't put the spots at the spot where that should be done, means at the place where the pencil mark was done already. They may do very close to each other or the first and second sample, so that what may happen, the migration of these amino acids after some time they can get mixed with each other, and there will be overlapping of the color spots will be there, and you will be unable to find out. And apply, we have to apply minimum volume of the concentration that should be there, or even if you spot there more than 5 microliter of the sample, that will be also a problematic one. And improper adjustment of the paper in the tank leads to the error, so that paper should be held vertically, while keeping the filter paper in the container or the chamber, it should be kept in a very strictly a vertical manner only. And spraying method affects the final result. So spraying of this 900 solution should be properly done, otherwise the spots may get overlapped on each other, and you will be unable to find out which amino acid is separated. This chromatographic technique is very simple in handling and fast in analysis, and it can be used in a small or as well as the large separation one. Amino acid acknowledged are observed in the broad spectrum inherited. Mainly, this is the one which is done in most of the inherited diseases, important diseases, where the clinicians may suspect about the excretion of over amino acids, which those amino acids should have helped that person in their various metabolical activities. Because of non-availability of one particular amino acid, which will be resulting into the some of the clinical features, he may suspect that patient must be passing on or excreting more amount of the amino acid. Only thing is that he has to find out which amino acid is doing that way. So this disorder of amino acid metabolism, in respect to that one, this chromatography will be applied and found out that this amino acid is the one which is excreting more, and there is the patient must be lacking of that amino acid. Because of this deficiency of amino acid, they may be causing some neurological abnormalities like seizure, hypotonia, lethargy, coma development, and proper growth will not be there, and many other conditions will be resulted. Clinical presentation of different amino acids disorders related to amino acid metabolism are variable, and often they are non-specific one. So onset of symptoms may occur in the neonatal period only. So the chromatography of amino acid is done mostly with the patients are the subjects of neonates only, because the observations will be there that there will not be the proper growth will not be there, or any other complications will be there. That time the pediatrician will ask for the amino acid chromatography. So the clinical situations in which the clinician may ask for the amino acid chromatography are in a coma condition or vomiting, or this is the clinical features, and ammonemia and failure to thrive, electrolyte abnormalities, lactic acidemia, unexplained developmental delay or intellectual disability, or abnormal newborn screening results, or it can be also done with the child whose elder brother may be having, brother or sister may be having same problem, possibly having an apprehension that it is moving in the fact with the hereditary one. So in this children also, this chromatography test can be done to rule out any such the disease is existing or what. And further, lastly, for monitoring of the treatment of the known patient also, this chromatography technique is getting applicable. So you can see here again, this is the amino acid spots that have been put in the reagent water. It's a solvent. This is the called as the origin place, and suppression will be there, and movement of this solvent will be there up to this part, and along with that movement of the solvent, the amino acids will be also moving there. And once you run this one for about 45 to 1 hour, you have to dry it, keeping it in a hot air oven, and then spray this with the 900 solution on this one, so that the amino acids they react with the 900 and get changed in the violet color, which will be visible for you. And applying the RF factor, you can make out which type of the amino acid is separated one. Here you see that this is a controlled one which is run here for almost all the amino acids they have done here. So each amino acid differ from each other, getting spotted at the different length. Valine, this is the leucine, phenylalanine. So the movement of this one will be calculated and find out the RF factor, and that RF factor will be compared with of the unknown sample, and it will be found out that which type of the amino acid is separated. So these are the even on the movement of this color also you can make out which amino acid is separated. So by this one I am coming to an end. Basically chromatography is the one which is used for the separation of the amino acids by the method chromatography. If the patient is suspected of suffering from any the inherited diseases like phenylketonuria, in that one you may suspect excretion of phenylalanine and glycinuria. In that one the glycine will be excreting more in that one, or Hartnup disease. In that one will be there tryptophan will be excreting more. So like that one may find out, confirm if the clinician is just making the diagnosis, he may ask for this chromatography test of the amino acids, and laboratories will apply this methodology to find out the which type of the amino acid is separated one. So they need one morning collected sample, urine sample, about 30 to for 50 ml urine sample should be sent to the laboratory, and the separation of these amino acids will be done. Like this one, there will be other technologies will be there, like the gas chromatography, or the other advanced one like HPLC I told you. So the most sophisticated is nowadays is the HPLC. With that one, you can quantify and purify the amino acids that are brought out of the mixture, and you can very well be in a position to strongly defend that these type of the amino acid is found in that patient. This is about the paper chromatography. So this comes to an end of this class, that is paper chromatography. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, beta.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
No, no,